Hey guys, and welcome to the Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report presented by Angelo DePaola, the Coastal Connection with eXp Realty. The first podcast to bring you the local inshore, offshore, and onshore fishing report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. We have a great show lined up this week, but first, let's see who's making the show possible. This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report is brought to you by Great Days Outdoors magazine. If you hunt or fish in Alabama or the Deep South, you know that it's different down here. Spawning seasons, patterns, and food sources are not the same as they are in other areas of the country. At Great Days Outdoors magazine, Southern outdoor writers pick the brains of the best Southern hunters and anglers and give you the best how-to, where-to, and when-to articles, along with so much more. Pick up a Great Days Outdoors magazine subscription and become a better Southern outdoorsman. Great Days Outdoors magazine can be found at your local Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, Tractor Supply Company, Rural King, Bass Pro Shops, or you can save and buy online at greatdaysoutdoors.com. And also brought to you by B&M Pole Company. B&M Pole Company is the leading manufacturer of crappie poles in the world today. Their product line has evolved to include top quality gear for anglers who fish more than just for panfish, including their Sam Super Salt series designed for shallow water fishing for trout and redfish. These rods will deliver everything you need to catch these inshore fish at a great price. The genuine Portuguese cork handle feels great in your hand, and the exposed blank and touch system will add unbelievable sensitivity. Stainless guides are durable and flow smoothly. Check out their whole lineup at bnmpoles.com. All right, folks, I am your host, Butch Theory, and I am joined today with my co-host, Angelo DePaola, the Coastal Connection. How are we doing today, Angelo?
Butch, doing great. Got a little sunshine for a change.
Heck yeah, finally, man. I was just telling my wife that this morning. I think this is the first day we hadn't had rain in a lot of days.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just depends on where you are in Mobile or Baldwin County, whether you're getting it that day or not.
That's true. You never know with these pop-up thunderstorms. Well, folks, as you guys can probably hear from the intro, the Coastal Connection is not a new partner, but he's becoming a little bit more involved at the Great Days Outdoors Network. We appreciate you being a sponsor, man. Welcome to the show. I know you're going to be co-hosting with us a little more. Just tell us a little bit about the Coastal Connection, if you don't mind, Angelo.
Man, the Coastal Connection is really my real estate team. And like this to me seemed like the perfect sponsorship, not sponsorship, I really say partnership. Like I think we've been partnering for about 2 years. And you guys brought to me an opportunity to kind of connect a little bit more with your audience, which I feel is a perfect fit for what we do. We represent buyers and sellers, people who are buying and selling real estate anywhere from Dolphin Island, Alabama, all the way over to Port St. Joe, Florida. I don't know if there's another realtor or real estate team that is set up to cover that large of area. We're a member of 6 different MLSs, including the commercial MLS. I've got a great support staff behind me with marketing, transaction coordinating, all the back end stuff. We've got great product knowledge, and we deliver, I think, the best customer experience that anybody that's doing a real estate deal out there. I just don't think anybody can beat us right now on that aspect.
I love that.
And that's really what we are, is we're a customer service based company.
Yep. I love that, man. I love following you guys on Facebook. I like all the stuff you do over at J&M with the tackle. And you're right. We do have a great partnership. I mean, your audience is our audience, you know, the fisher and the angler and the people that live on the water. It's all kind of a cohesive unit, in my opinion.
Man, I tell you what I love about this is at the end of the day, I don't get to fish that much, not as much as I used to. I mean, you're kind of getting into this. I have small kids and I'm busy with work, but like, you know, if you ever played high school sports and you weren't like the starter, but you kind of had the camaraderie, like I feel like I still get to participate in the camaraderie portion of fishing, even though like actually going out and doing it is not what I do every day anymore. And like, I feel like this is my tribe. These are the people that, like, at the end of the day, if you're going to be working with somebody, you want to be working with like-minded people. And when I look at the audience that listens to this podcast and the one over in Florida, these are my people. I want to connect with them. I want to help them out, you know, whether it's just they're learning something from a tackle tip from an email they may get from me, or help them buy or sell a piece of property anywhere along the Gulf Coast. I'd love to do that for them.
We love that, man. Thank you again for being a sponsor, and look forward to you co-hosting a lot more.
Oh man, I can't wait. I actually look forward to this every time I get to do one of these. I very much enjoy it.
Good, man. What's going on in real estate over there? How are things looking? I know, we talked a little bit about, I think last time we had you on, we talked a little bit about post Sally and things were, rebuilding and or rebuilt. What are you guys seeing over there as far as real estate market trends or anything crazy that you want to discuss?
It's interesting, Butch. We literally shot a video on this morning. So every week we break down what's going on in Mobile and Baldwin County, and we break down specific cities, but we look at it in a 7-day stretch. What's come on the market as new listings versus what's coming off as under contracts. So for instance, if you had 100 properties come on the market and you had 200 properties go under contract, then you're running about 15 days of inventory. We literally got down to a point where that was the scenario pretty much everywhere in the Gulf Coast for about April and March. It got down to anywhere from 15 to 18 days worth of inventory. What we've seen is the same number of buyers are putting stuff under contract, but we're starting to see inventory levels rise. And that makes sense for this time of year, especially because what people are doing is they're pulling profits off the table, especially on coastal communities, whether you have a rental house on Dolphin Island or 30A or Panama City, and you bought it 2 years ago and you're up 200 G's and you're netting $20,000 a month. Well, it's going to take you 10 years to make that money. Why not just pull those profits off the table? So we're seeing a lot of that right now. We're going to see that pushing into the fall as well.
That makes a lot of sense, man. Thanks for that analysis. If folks want to get up with you guys and check out your website and check out your inventory, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Man, the website is thecoastalconnection.com, www.thecoastalconnection.com. You can email me at angelo@thecoastalconnection or just reach out to me and my team. The number at the office is 251-279-0099. And somebody's going to answer that 24/7. If not, we'll quickly return your phone call.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you again for that. And let's get into these reports, man. Let's talk some fishing.
Awesome, dude. That's what we're here for, right?
That's right. All right, Angelo, let's head on down to Dolphin Island, Alabama. Let's talk to Captain King Marchand. Let's get our offshore report. It's going to be a little scratchy and it might be a little staticky, guys, but that's because we got a live, real report coming from the Gulf of Mexico and the Lady Ann. What'd you say, Captain King?
All good, Butch. All good. We out here getting it done today.
Good, man. You guys getting prepped for the Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo this weekend?
Oh yeah, I think we got located where we're gonna go, how we're gonna fish, and we're gonna go out there and give it 100% like we do every day.
Absolutely, man. You guys had a really, really good 2-day trip this past weekend, didn't you?
Oh my God, man! It was some of the best fishing I've seen in a while. I think we had 11 big yellowfin, tons of big blackfin, Rodeo, mahi. I mean, heck, pretty much you name it. I think we had it in stock.
Hey, Cap, I saw that picture on Facebook, and it reminded me of like the old days. I mean, it was like, rarely do you seem like you get one of those trips where everything you do works out.
Yeah, and it did, and I can say, oh, we did this, we did that, but when it comes down to it, we go enough, and if you go enough, you're going to get lucky, just like you can sit in the deer stand all day, and some days you're going to see them, and some days you're not. And this trip, it all came together, and we were prepared for it too. We were ready for it.
Well, what were y'all seeing out there?
Tell you what, I'm sorry.
What were y'all seeing? What were the conditions? Kind of share where you at, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, we was probably 130 miles south, a little bit southeast of Dolphin Island, and the conditions were beautiful. And the water was not calm, but it had just a little bit of chop to it. The water clarity was what I would consider to be ideal. It was like a clean, green water. A lot of people, we get a lot of guys ask me all the time. They say, "Hey, where's the blue water at? Where's the blue water at?" Well, I don't feel like that's as important as where the fish are at. And if you can find those fish in some dirtier water, you're not blue, but not green, but just a clean green, I feel like you're going to catch more because they're not as leader shy in those conditions. And everything worked out good. The only problem is using that green water, there's a bunch of sharks mixed in with them, and they'll eat up all your bait and everything. But at this particular place we were at, it was just good fishing. There were no sharks, and we were able to fish the way we wanted to. The current was going perfect. It was putting our chunk lines back right behind the boat. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more ideal time to be fishing.
All right, Captain King, you guys cut out a little bit there, but you mentioned you caught those tuna mostly chunking.
Yeah, we started out. We got there at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think it was within the first 10 minutes we hooked our first yellowfin, and then we had about 7 or 8 of them by about 6 o'clock in the morning. And so the chunk bite was good. But then the sun came up, and they started jumping all around the boat. They were just kind of scattered out, and they weren't as concentrated as they were when we were chunking. So we switched up and started trolling around for them. Then we caught three or four more, whatever we caught, trolling just to cover a little bit more ground, you know.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Yeah, it does sound like the old days, Angelo, talking about those tunas jumping out of the water all around and stuff, man. That's awesome to hear.
Man, and look, King, like what was key to me when you started talking about that green water, I just feel like that water has a little bit more nutrients in it, more likely to hold bait, and especially for tuna fish. They're not as leader shy, but it seems like there's more fish in that water typically.
Yeah, it does seem like there's more fish, but like I was saying, you know, the problem is so many sharks out there in that green water. I know a lot of the closer in tuna fishing rigs, you can't even fish on them. I mean, just because every time you put a bait out there, the sharks come up and eat it up. It's unfishable. But them tunas, you know, they've got big old eyes, and that's not for looks. That's for we're looking around and seeing stuff. I feel like that green water and the light lines and light leaders, that's what makes the big difference when you're trying to get out there and get some.
I've never seen a year that the sharks has been so thick. My dad, I was talking to him yesterday, he threw his cast net 10 times off his dock in Mobile Bay, and it's fresh as can be in there. 2 times he caught bull sharks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Captain King, whenever you're chunking, do you like to use fluorocarbon on your leader?
I always use fluorocarbon. I like to use probably about a 40 or 50 foot leader. And a lot of guys like to attach it with like a blood knot, you know, like a line to line. But I just use a real small swivel, one that I can wind in through the eyes of the rod. Is what I prefer because, you know, when those tunas come up, they're doing circles, and they're gonna. If you have a line to line, they're gonna twist all your line up, and you'll break them off if it gets too twisted. So if I use little small spro swivels enough to wind through them lines, and that's ideal for me. And that's what we've always had good luck with.
Hey, King, what kind of knot do you use to attach your hook?
I usually like to use a polymer knot on there just because it's got the breaking strength of it. I believe it's more than the line. I think it's like 120% breaking strength. But, you know, sometimes you get there in the heat of battle and you're just trying to get another line out there. I'll tie the regular old fishing knot a lot of times.
I hear you. The reason I was asking, I was curious where I was having lunch with some guys today, and we were talking about snelled circle hooks versus a loop knot versus a Palomar knot and the connection. I was just curious.
Well, I believe that if you're using a circle hook and you're using a snell knot, you're going to hook more fish with it. It's just the way that it pulls that hook up, you have a better hookup with the fish. But when I'm chunking for tunas, I use a little live bait owner hook. I mean, it's probably the size of your thumb. Small, that way you can really get it in that bait and hide it in that bait. It just works, and we hook more fish than we do with a circle hook.
That makes sense.
When you went to trolling, what were y'all trolling?
Just some small baits. You know, I know a lot of guys like to use them big islanders and stuff, but we use just small baits and ballyhoo on them.
Awesome, man. That's a great report, Captain King. We appreciate you being on, giving us your pre-rodeo report, man. You guys have good luck today, and I know you guys will have good luck this weekend fishing in the rodeo. You guys fish hard. If folks want to get up with you and book a trip, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Man, they can call that phone number, 861-5302, or the best way to do is just go to Capt Mike online. You can see all the trips that we've already got booked and the spaces that are available, and you can make your reservation right there.
Awesome, buddy. We appreciate the tips, and we definitely appreciate the report. You guys be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Butch, let me round up on this spot real quick, and I'll holler at y'all later.
Sounds good, buddy. Good luck. All right, guys, that's a great segment. Let's take a quick break and hear from a couple of this week's sponsors. That segment was brought to you by KillerDock. As anglers, we put a lot of time, money, and passion into fishing, but most of us do not have a fish cleaning station that we are proud of. Many of us are suffering from dock dysfunction. A rod and table with rusty metal, this is just no good. But the dock enhancement that we've all been waiting for is finally here. KillerDock uses marine-grade aluminum to make fabulous fish cleaning tables and stunning canopies that will keep us out of the sun. KillerDock combines durability, function, and design to uniquely upgrade your entire dock experience. Visit KillerDock.com to see more. And also brought to you by CCA Alabama. A great way to support conservation projects like the Claude Petit Flounder and Speckled Trout Hatchery in the University of South Alabama Cobia Tagging Project is through the purchase of a distinctive CCA Alabama saltwater fishing license plate. All right, Angelo, let's head on down to Sam's Bait and Tackle over at Orange Beach, Alabama. Let's see what Captain Dusty Hayes has been up to. What you say, Cap?
Oh, what's going on, man? Just we're busy, hot and heavy right in the middle of the season, so everybody's trying to get all their snapper fishing in. We've actually finally had some decent weather this past week, so it's been nice for a change.
No doubt, buddy. You've been in the surf on the onshore, or what you been up to over there?
I've been doing a little bit of everything. I fished a few creeks and stuff, and have surf fished a little bit. This time of year, me personally, I'm not one to go out there much anymore, anyways, and just soak baits. But I do still go out there a lot and throw lures, and there's so much activity in the surf this time of year, especially when you have as much rain as we've had. It pushes a lot of the bait offshore, and so that bait gets on the beach, and there's ladyfish and bluefish and Spanish and redfish and trout. And I know we've talked about the trout plenty in the surf, but I mean, all summer is a good time to do it. And a lot of those guys, inshore wise, especially in the Fort Morgan area, catching a ton of trout just right off the beach. And, there's plenty of other spots, pretty much everything west of West Pass and Gulf Shores is great for targeting trout. But I mean, you'll have bycatch too, and just walking the beach throwing lures is productive. I mean, I've had so many people today, for instance, in the shop. I mean, we had dozens of people come in, hey, we're from out of town, so on. And, I'm like, yeah, just walk the beach and throw a Zara spook. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, man, you don't have to, you don't have to soak baits to catch fish. You can be mobile, you can cover ground, you can walk, you can get away from people, throw spoons. And worst case, you're catching ladyfish and hardtails and bluefish, and it for somebody that does it every day, it may not sound too exciting, but I mean, I don't know many people that you could tie a top water plug on their rod and have a fish crush at every cast and just not have a smile on your face, no doubt. As annoying as ladyfish are, I mean, catching a few of them is fun, after a point, you want to move on and find something better. But if something's, especially early in the morning, something's crashing bait right on the surface and I have a hard bait tied on, or anything for that matter, I mean, I can't say that I'm disciplined enough to not throw in there. And I don't know many people that are, because they may be ladyfish but there could be a trout in there with them. There could be a redfish in there with them. So just, if you're beach fishing and you want to try something different, I know the grass is still bad in certain areas. I've talked to a few people that, hey, I fished the beach and we caught pompano whiting. I know my buddy Steven said they caught a couple nice pompano the other morning. No issue with grass. I don't know exactly where he was. But he said no issue with grass. And then I know a few other people have been fishing and still struggling with grass. So, don't go to the same spot every day and expect different results. If you're struggling with grass, move around. Go to Perdido Key, go to Orange Beach, go to Fort Morgan, try different areas, and you'll still catch pompano this time of year. Something to bear in mind too is early in the morning, a lot of those fish that are chasing bait fish are going to be up close. So if you're fishing shrimp and sand fleas, you're going to have a lot of bycatch from hardtails and bluefish and ladyfish and such, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you just want to catch fish. But if you are targeting more of the pompano, whiting and such, then you may want to, wait, still be out there early, but don't focus as much on setting baits out until, an hour after sunup, and let some of that bait fish activity kind of ease off behind that sandbar. And sometimes that's when you'll actually catch more whiting and pompano as a couple hours into daylight, because that bait fish activity is kind of moved out. So there's still plenty of stuff to go on in the surf. Like I said, if you can just find an area, get away from grass, it's the time of year to where you almost just can't not catch a fish off the beach. So it's fun stuff for sure.
Dusty, I got a question. I've never fished for trout off the beach, but it's always been one of those things that intrigued me. What are, for somebody that fishes and can read situations, but just has never done it, what is there anything in particular I'm looking for other than just fish busting? Is there any features in how the sandbars and stuff shifting, sloughs, whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll look for pushes in the current, like a rip current, and you'll have the steeper holes. So like obviously right on top of the sandbar, there's probably not going to be fish, but in between you and that sandbar, there will be. And as you get further west, like I mentioned earlier, west of West Pass and Gulf Shores, you'll notice the sandbar cuts come in a lot closer. And so basically you have a casting length and sometimes not even 10 yards or 10 feet even from you to that sandbar. So those trout and reds and flounder are going to run those deeper troughs up close, right along the shoreline. And so, covering ground, like you may find one that's got a trout or a redfish, and then sometimes you'll find them kind of schooled up in those bigger holes. So just covering ground, looking for regular things in the water and those deeper pockets in between those sandbars, and being able to walk. Don't expect to just walk out behind, Mobile Street and fish 20 yards each side of the access and you're going to catch trout. Yeah, you can, but you're not going to catch numbers. You gotta put the backpack on and get to walking, and because you got to think a lot of these public accesses are fished heavily, in the same little general area, and that's not a bad thing. And those fish, replenish, those fish move through there, but you willing to walk a mile, you can get away from some waters that may not get fished that often, if at all. So just looking for regular stuff. Bait activity, bird activity definitely helps, and anywhere you see like current turning, rip currents, all that stuff.
Awesome. Hey, look, I want to follow it up with this. I was out fishing junior anglers this weekend, and I noticed like we worked our way east towards Pensacola, and the water seemed so grungy and like I'm assuming a little bit fresher, and there just was not that much bait. And then as we got a little bit east and the water cleaned up, it just seemed to be there was more fish and more bait. I was curious, what are you guys seeing when the conditions are like they are right now?
It'll vary, because that wind will push water every which way. Like Pensacola area, you really just have Pensacola Pass until you get to Destin Pass. And so, we have Perdido, West Pass, and Mobile Bay all within a, whatever 20-something or 40-something odd stretch of miles of beach. So, depending on the wind, you can get pockets of clean water, just randomly one day. They'll have a higher salinity, there'll be more bait. And then there may be, more dirty brown water, on the outgoing tide on one side of the pass, depending on what the wind's doing. So, paying attention to what your tide's doing. Like if you just have a lot of rain and you go out, just for example, say you're at the end of an outgoing tide and you got a hard southwest wind and you're at Fort Morgan, that whole beach is probably going to be pretty dirty because all that Mobile Bay water is going to be pushed up on the beach. But, if you have an incoming tide and you got a hard southeast wind or east wind, it may push some cleaner water in. So, and that may not be the case. It may just be dirty water for miles. But, sometimes over time, if you pay attention to those subtle things and keep up with, okay, I know the water's normally clean here if it's incoming tide and we haven't had that much rain, you can almost kind of guess about what the water will look like. And it'll always surprise you. I mean, this Mother Nature is never going to be 100% predictable, but you can kind of note down and, like I said, take notes and just remember year after year, usually what will happen with those watercolors and such. But I notice a lot of times, as long as if it's dirty off-colored water, especially west in our area, we have no issue catching fish. If it's just chocolate milk mud water, especially if it's got a lot cooler water temperature, that fresh water is always a lot colder. You just don't see the activity. You just don't see the fish. In general, you see a lot of catfish, a lot of stingrays. Same thing with the tarpon. You don't see those tarpon rolling. But, that cleanish water, even if it's tannic, brown, like a tea color, but you can still see through it, it'll still heat up and you still have plenty of salt in there. The whole bait fish and the trout don't mind at all. I mean, it's no different than them being in the back of a creek in the wintertime. They can withstand some low salinity. Same thing with the redfish and other fish. So they're going to focus more on where those bait fish want to be more than where they want to be. And so it's being mobile and looking for the water you want to be fishing in is definitely something that'll help you out.
Let's been going over. Yeah, that's a good stuff, man. I think it's really cool what you were saying about. I actually wrote it down over here for maybe what did you learn? Made the all-star list today, Dusty. Man, it makes sense to keep up with places, like we're always talking about in here. Just pay attention to what you're doing, why you're doing it. Why is the water clean here right now? I would assume you could do the same thing for grass and other stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if say it's real bad on, Cotton Bayou Beach today and you're staying at a hotel or whatever, you're going to fish the access 2 miles down the beach and it's been blowing hard southeast. It's a good chance that grass is going to make its way down there.
Yep.
Without much wind, if you get a calmer stretch and there's not much wind, not much current, groundswell, or anything like that, a lot of that stuff will kind of stay put, and it'll kind of bury up on the bottom, on the backside of the sandbars. And so it'll allow you to kind of fish closer in the surf because it'll push some of that grass up on the beach, and then it'll kind of keep it put. It'll settle on the bottom in those deeper pockets. So, you know, like I said, you can't ever predict any of it, but, you know, year after year, everything does have patterns. Same thing with like fishing all the creeks around here. There's certain creeks that, you know, notoriously just get chocolate milk mud after any rain. Like all the Wolf Bay creeks, it can just sprinkle for 30 seconds in Foley, and Wolf Creek, Sandy Creek, all that looks like yoo-hoo. But then some of the other creeks around here, it can rain a lot and it'll definitely get muddy, but it's not as bad. It's more of a tannic color. And a lot of that's got to do with, you know, the farmlands around it, or, you know, whatever it may be. But, you know, paying attention to those little stuff like that will help you out with, you know, diverse weather conditions.
Definitely agree, man. I've been seeing some king mackerel come up on the pier. You got a pier report? Anything to speak of over there?
I haven't actually been on the pier, but I have seen a lot of people catching kings out there, and the Spanish bite's been pretty good from what I've heard. And I did talk to a guy this morning that he saw a few guys catch some nice trout out there on live LYs, which is definitely a normal summertime pattern. You definitely get some people out there freelining LYs that they'll catch on ribbon rigs and sabiki rigs, and they'll catch some big trout off that pier. Those guys go down a really light line, like sometimes even 6 and 8 pound fluorocarbon, and freer line those little LYs, and those trout will just get angry at them and come up and pop them. It's pretty cool stuff. But the pier bite has definitely been good. I'm glad it's, you know, at least halfway back open. It definitely kind of gets a different avenue. I know with Sally and all that stuff, a lot of people were on the beach this past fall, and you know, they had it rebuilt and all that stuff. So glad the pier people get to get back out there and fish. It seems like that lack of fishing out there helped it out a little bit anyways for the meanwhile. But there's definitely been some fish caught out there for sure.
Dusty, you ready for this Hey Cap question this week?
Oh yeah, man. Give it to me.
All right. Well, look, Davis Bryant writes, "Hey Cap, I know most people on here use conventional tackle, but how would somebody target pompano with the fly?"
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's definitely something that's achievable. You know, and it's something I'm still working on myself on learning and whatnot. But the biggest part is just putting the time out there and spending time on the beach throwing flies. And that's going to boil down to just conditions, you know, less wind, calmer conditions. Biggest thing I can help you out with is get yourself a stripping basket. That helps tremendously. A stripping basket, just if you're not familiar, is you know, there's various ones. We sell some that are like foam that's made by Scientific Anglers. You wear it around your waist, and that line that you're stripping off your reel is going into your waist basket instead of into the surf. And it doesn't seem like a big deal till you get out there with a rougher surf and you got line tangling around your legs and in between your feet, and then you hook a fish and, you know, it's in between your toes and all that stuff. And so a stripping basket is definitely something that helps. But as far as flies goes, there's so many different things. It's just a standard sand flea pattern fly, and there's a bunch of different ones, like the Nick Vallejo sand flea that we sell at Sam's. There's also the you know, little pink and white clousers that work great. White and chartreuse clousers work good, like size 6, size 4. But just targeting, you know, same deep pockets. Wade fishing is also something that's really, really great, especially the warmer months like this time of year. Now in the spring, when you have a heavier pompano presence, a lot of guys will like to get out there and sight fish for them, stand on those sandbars and look for them, present a fly to them, which is, to me, probably definitely going to be your ultimate.
That would be cool.
Yeah, what you would want to do pompano fishing with a fly, I mean, that's going to be as cool as it gets. And you can do it like off the jetties or by boat in the springtime when they're stacked up on the jetties. But this time of year, if you go out there and you throw clousers and, you know, different bait fish and shrimp patterns and stuff like that off the beach, you know, you'll probably end up catching a pompano. But worst case, you're going to have a lot of bycatch. And that's still fun. If you're catching fish on the fly rod, especially in the surf, you're going to be having fun. You may be catching Spanish, you may be catching ladyfish, you may be catching bluefish, you may be catching trout. But just know those pompano are there. And, you know, if you're in the right place at the right time, you'll connect with one eventually on the fly. You know, don't always just focus on super, you know, pompano-ish looking flies like sand fleas and small crabs and such, because, yeah, that's great. But at the same time, you may be eliminating a lot of other stuff. So like pink and white clouser or something of that nature, like a smallish, you know, bait fish, works really, really good. You know, pompano or jacks are not going to just eat shrimp and crabs and such and sand fleas. they also eat a lot of bait fish, especially this time of year. So, I mean, the previous I think actually the current world record was caught on a top dog in Port St. Joe, topwater.
That's crazy.
And I know a lot of them get caught on gotcha plugs and stuff off the end of the pier in the summertime. They do eat bait fish. They are, jack. They do, hit off reaction bites. So a lot of times it's a simple bait fish pattern they can chase after and key in on is something that's really going to get you those bites. So a variety of flies. You can come see us at Sam's and we'll show you. We have probably, I'd say, a solid half dozen, if not a few more patterns that are really we get them just for pompano, but they work for a lot of different things. But there's also a lot of other stuff you can use too and tie. I tied a ton of different flies. I'm actually looking at my pompano box right now, and it doesn't have to be anything super particular. There's just so many variances of small bugs you can use that are pompano-ish looking, and you'll also catch whiting and flounder and redfish on as well. So, but pompano and surf on the flies, to me, one of the coolest things you can do locally around here. And it can be achieved just easily. It's the biggest thing is just spending the time out there with the right conditions and going.
Man, that's awesome. That's a cool report. That shows me how little I know about fly fishing. I don't know about you, Angelo, but I've never done any of that, man.
Man, I got into it for a minute. I've got all the tackle. I tell you what I like to do, fly fish for, and it's totally off topic, but in the fall, those rigs on Fort Morgan, you get some 10, 25-pound kings on a fly, and they're thick enough out there to it's consistent.
That would be fun.
Oh yeah. Good king, Spanish, all that stuff, and mangroves out there too.
Man, that's an awesome report, Dusty. I appreciate that, man. That's a great Hey Cap question.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's a great Hey Cap question from Davey Miller. Davey Miller is going to get a prize pack from the Slick Lure. Make sure you email us at alabama@bestfishingreport.com to redeem those Slick Lures. Captain Dusty, we appreciate it, man. It's a great report. I enjoyed the fly talk. If you folks want to get up with you and come down and see you and get a fly rod set up or some whatever they need, what's the best way to get up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You're more welcome to call or text me on my cell phone, 678-897-0167. We actually have a lot of people that listen to the podcast that come in and talk with us, who text us all the time asking for reports, and we really appreciate it. But like I say, anything you need from conventional to offshore, inshore, we got it covered. And especially fly, I think we have a pretty huge selection, especially locally on fly rods, reels, and flies in general. So we're expanding that every day. So we have a lot of people getting into fly fishing around here. It's kind of growing, and it's something that you got to want to do for sure. But we definitely carry the stuff to get you started. We have a lot of good combos you can get into for a good price. We've actually, me and Chris were talking today before I left. I think this is one of the best weeks we've had as far as selling combos, rod and reel, for fly setups. I think we've sold quite a few the past 7 or 8 days. So there's a lot of people getting into it, even a few inshore captains getting into it too. So
that's great news, man. You guys go see Dusty at 27122 Canal Road in Orange Beach, Alabama. We appreciate it, Dusty. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Awesome.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, folks. That was another awesome report, and it was brought to you by Fishbites. Are you tired of stinking baits? Fishbites don't stink or leave a stink on hands and everything else. They don't require bait buckets or ice to stay fresh while you fish. Fishbites can withstand numbers of bait stealers for many, many minutes. Won't come off the hook during a hard cast or in rough waters. Check out the full line of scented saltwater and freshwater baits and tackle at fishbites.com. And also brought to you by Foster Contracting, Fortified Roofing Pros. Do you need a new roof? Do you have wind or hail damage? You may qualify for a free roof. Foster Contracting will inspect and provide you with an estimate, stress-free, and they will handle your claim with your insurance. Your roof is your first line of defense this storm season. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your day. Foster Contracting has you covered. Check them out at www.fortifiedroofingpros.com or give them a shout at 251-447-2978. All right, Angelo, let's head south, man. Let's head on down to Dolphin Island, Alabama, Mobile Bay area. Let's see what Captain Richard Rutland's up to, a cold-blooded fishing. How we doing, Captain Blood?
Hey, girl. How y'all doing?
Man, if I was any better, you know who I'd be.
Oh, yeah. Come on with it.
What you doing down there, buddy?
Oh, nothing to it. Just got done doing a little grudge match with some of the rodeo guys. They think they can beat Captain Richard. So I had to show them today.
Do you make them call you Daddy or Big Poppy or something for the weekend? Like how's that work? Or do you just take a couple dollars from them?
They call me a lot of things. It's usually not nice.
Speaking of rodeo, man, it's coming up tomorrow, right?
Yep. We got a liars contest tomorrow. There is no captain's meeting for anybody who's fishing and needs to sign out or anything. We don't have a sign out. We don't have a captain's meeting, but you can definitely show up and get in the cash prizes. Division, buy a ticket, getting in the jackpots that we have. Big thing that we want to get the word out on is that Red Snapper is obviously still open, and we will have a Red Snapper jackpot that is available online only. You cannot buy it in stores for a Red Snapper jackpot. That's a $50 ticket per person. It just was one of those things. It did not look like we were going to have snapper as a category this year, and we don't. But snapper's still open, so we're going to open a jackpot to everybody, and it's $50 per person, and like I said, that's an online ticket, or you can come to the site and get it tomorrow night,
Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Got it, man. Awesome. Yeah, that'll be July 15th, Thursday, as we say, tomorrow. Well, cool, man.
That's
yeah,
right.
I'm interested to see what a real rodeo looks like again. It was a little bit different last year, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yep, man, I loved rodeo last year because we didn't have all that chaos going on with the bands and the sponsors and everything else. And we were just fishing, it's just a fishing tournament, which is what we do good at, what we're good at for the Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo for the organization. We're good at putting on a fishing tournament. And we did real well with it last year, and I enjoyed it. But yes, we are going back to a full-fledged rodeo. We're going to have the Molly Ringwalds on Friday night. Can't remember who we have for the Liars contest, and we've got the Mustache Band Saturday night. I guess the theme of the music is going to be rolling through the years. We're going to have 80s, 70s, and then 80s, and then 90s country. So it should be pretty fun time down there. We're going to have food and beer and everything for sale down on site. Should be a good time. All of our sponsors are coming back that we've had in the past. So we're looking forward to getting back after it.
Good deal,
man. That is super exciting.
Well,
I'm gonna tell you what, I got excited the other day when I walked into the Chevron here on Dolphin Island, and they took the plexiglass wall down. You know what I mean? It's like, hey,
little normalcy.
It might be over. Everything might be getting back to normal. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely getting more and more back to normal, which is great to see. Tell us an inshore report, man. Give us the goods on the speckled trout and the redfish. What you been chasing?
Man, the speckled trout and the red fishing has been great. I've mainly been staying in shallow water. I know there's several guys around the island, Mobile Bay, who have been catching lots of fish in deep water, out around the gas platforms, slip corking and free lining live shrimp and croakers and stuff like that. But I've been having tons of success shallow water. I've almost gotten where I hate doing that deep water thing, and we've been crushing the fish all week. It's just really good. It has not gotten like July and August hot yet, so the water temperature is still like in the low 80s. So it has not got stupid hot yet. And the shallow water bite has really been strong. So I'm just going to kind of give that one to the weather being good.
How are you fishing the shallow water, Richard?
Man, most everything has been, we've been doing a lot of wade fishing, catching a lot of fish. Like as far as artificials go, top waters and slick lures have been really good. And then when we're not wading, we've been popping cork fishing a bunch and using a live shrimp or the artificial bite under a live shrimp has been good as well. Using the voodoo shrimp, the chartreuse. Color voodoo has been real good, and so has the pearl white with chartreuse tail. Has been that's been my go-to.
It's fun.
I love wade fishing.
Me too, man. That's definitely my jam for sure. I mean, I guess whenever you say, go ahead.
I was gonna say we waited all morning, slinging slicks and live croakers, and had a good time. We actually went and pulled the shrimp net yesterday afternoon to get my bait for today. Caught them real good. Just, I guess you'd call it, just north of Little Dolphin Island, right there along the drop off. Made about 4 10-minute drags with a 16-foot net, and we had more shrimp and crackers than we knew what to do with. So awesome. The bait catching's been good, and of course there's been several of the bait shops down here have been staying loaded up with bait as well around the island. Wendy over there at the marina staying loaded up, and then Jimmy Noel up there at Deer River Bait and Tackle's been staying loaded up with shrimp too. So bait's definitely becoming more available. The one thing that I can't get around right now is the water clarity has not cleaned up a whole lot. You know, we're still kind of dealing with a lot of that dirty water from that tropical storm that came through a couple of weeks ago, and it's hanging around for some reason. I mean, the fish are still there, the fish are still biting, but it could be better. Obviously, you know, we're starting to trying to find a few blackfish here and there, and it's been kind of tough because you don't really have a whole lot of water clarity. Like I said, the fish are still there, and you just got to kind of deal with it. But
well, what are you doing? What are you doing, like with trout, to combat that water clarity not being so great?
That popping cork is really doing the trick a lot, because you're popping that cork and making that explosion in the water and bringing the fish up to your cork, and you're seeing your live shrimp there or your voodoo shrimp. So that popping cork is what I'm using to overcome a lot of that. But if you get in some areas where you know some fish are and you want to throw artificial, you know, you got to make 10 casts instead of 5 casts to catch a fish. You know what I mean? When you do it, and the other thing too, I've been banging that lure around a lot. You know, like when you're doing your top water fishing or doing your slick fishing, and really putting a lot of action on the lure to attract the fish to the lure. You know, like when you talk about like fishing a slick lure, I've been hitting that lure hard to move a bunch of water with the lure so the fish can feel the lure in the water and come and find it. And that's what's really been going for me there. And then of course, popping cork too. I've been having to kind of having to get after my customers a little bit the past couple of weeks to make sure they pop the cork hard enough. You know what I mean? Because you'll see some guys. Yeah. You'll see some guys get out there that just kind of give it like a little short pop, you know. And I'm like, hey man, like
put the hammer down on that thing.
Make an explosion, exactly. Make an explosion with it, because the water's dirty and the fish are having a hard time finding the bait. So
just trying to use all the fish's senses possible, it sounds like.
That's right. I don't think we give the fish enough credit for how good they are at finding the lure. You know what I mean? That's what I kind of been doing to overcome it. You know, they're definitely sensory predators. You know, they're good at what they do as far as staying alive.
No doubt, dude. That's a great report, man. I know your bookings are looking good, and you got the rodeo coming up, and they're going to be busy with that. But if folks want to get up with you and book a trip, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yep. My website's coldbloodedfishing.com. You can find my telephone number on there. And then, but as far as bookings go, I got a good bunch of good openings for August. Pretty much booked through the end of July, right after rodeo. And August is looking real good for some folks that want to get on the water. And of course, we're doing offshore as well this year, and we've got availability there as well. So
awesome, dude. Well, good luck with the rodeo this weekend, man. I'm sure y'all will put on a jam up event as always.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Talk to you next time, buddy. Y'all be safe this weekend.
All right.
10-4.
All right, guys, that wraps up another great segment. Let's take a break, and you guys check out some of this week's sponsors. That segment was brought to you by Photonus Defense.
Photonus Defense is proud to offer the PD Pro line of night vision systems. The PD Pro series is the world's smallest and lightest night vision goggles built around the Photonus 16mm filmless 4G image intensifier tubes and their hybrid filmless 18mm image intensifier tubes. These ultra-light, ultra-compact night vision systems deliver cleanest images, best resolution, smallest, most transparent halo, and best overall performance and function of any night vision system available. The PDR Pro line consists of the PD Pro M 16mm monocular, the PD Pro B 16mm binocular, and the PD Pro Q panoramic night vision system. Photonus Defense, masters of darkness. And also brought to you by Fishing Chaos fishing tournaments coming up near you. For Alabama saltwater anglers, you'll want to check out these awesome tournaments. The Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo will take place on Dolphin Island, Alabama on July 16th through July 18th of 2021. The Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo's tickets are available for purchase on the Fishing Chaos app. Also, the 39th annual Conde Cavaliers Fishing Rodeo will be held on Dolphin Island Marina on August 7th and 8th, 2021. Tickets are available for purchase on the Fishing Chaos app beginning July 17th of 2021. The Mobile Rotary 31st Annual Tarpon Catch and Release Tournament tickets are already for sale as we speak, and that tournament will take place on August 7th of 2021 at the Dolphin Island Marina. For our kayak anglers, check out Bila Battery Kayak Classic. This tournament will be held on August 7th of 2021. Tickets are available for purchase on the Fishing Chaos app. This is an inshore tournament for redfish, speckled trout, and flounder. Also check out the month-long Kayak Saltwater Series August Redfish Challenge that repeats in September and October. There are Gulf Coast and Atlantic divisions. 5 redfish aggregate length determines the winner. Tickets are available for purchase on the Fishing Chaos app. More tournaments near you, info, and full tournament details, including ticket purchases, can be found online at app.fishingchaos.com/tournament. All right, Angelo, you know we can't get out of here without doing What Did You Learn, man? What'd you learn today? What'd you take away from the show?
2 things. Don't lose to Captain Richard. He'll embarrass you.
He don't mind hurting feelings, Cap. I can tell you.
He don't. Number 2 is Dusty's tip on trout fishing. I've always curious, like, do you just toss straight out and work it in? But no, you go fish those sloughs, and it sounds like I need to get some exercise and do a little bit of walking if I want to catch anything.
Yeah, I think that I like beach fishing is fun, but to me, beach fishing is kind of like, you got a cart and you got a backpack and you got a cooler and you got all this stuff, and you move camp down there and then you're set up and you're not catching anything. Then what do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea of having, 1 rod or maybe 2 rods, if you got a weight belt or something, some of those have rod holders where you got a couple of things, you're streamlined, you're walking the beach, you're casting sloughs and finding bait. I agree with you. Those guys got to figure it out, man, for sure.
What about you? What did you figure out today?
Man, I have a lot of things written down over here. I picked up from Captain King. He was talking about how tiny his hooks were for chunking. I kind of took that away. I don't know how tiny he's talking about. Maybe that's the trade secret that we need to get out, get out of his mouth.
I mean, like I'm always amazed how small of a circle hook will catch a fish.
Yep, me too. And it doesn't sound like it hurts his performance in it. The smaller the hook, kind of hides the bait a little bit better and increases his hookups.
Well, the other thing that I thought was very interesting, we talked about it on his segment, was the green water.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that I've seen like just kind of bay water, but when your prop turns it up, it's just cobalt underneath. And like quite a lot of times when that line has moved past that rig, there's just tons of bait, but people run past that rig because it doesn't seem like there's any fish.
There's the water clarity, and those fish aren't going to leave that rig because of a little bit of dirty water on top, I don't think.
I'll tell you, we had a day we caught 3 blue marlin in an afternoon in a rig that looked like it was in chocolate milk brown.
Yep. Hey, the bait's there, the fish are going to be there, Cap. You can believe that.
Yep.
I also took away pretty much every single thing that Dusty said about fly fishing. It just shows me how little I know about fly fishing. So, man, I learned a lot, like always.
What? Fly fishing's like bow hunting. Like,
that's right. Just steps it up another level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
And I've got a lot of kill still built up in me, so I like the conventional tackle still.
Yeah, me too. I definitely haven't mastered conventional, day to day. So we'll leave the fly fishing for Dusty and those experienced anglers, huh?
Oh yeah. Well,
man,
dude, I
appreciate
thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's fun, man. Thanks for co-hosting with me. I really enjoyed it.
All right, man. Look forward to the next go around.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up this week. You guys please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like us to email you the podcast each week, just text the word fishing to 314-665-1767. Again, just text the word fishing to 314-665-1767 to subscribe to our email list, and we'll send you the new show each week. You guys keep whacking them. This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report was brought to you by Test Calibration. Test Calibration is your source for sales and service of diesel turbochargers and fuel injection systems since 1976. Contact them at 800-822-0057 or visit them online at testcalibratondieselandturbo.com. And also brought to you by the Alabama Marine Resources Division reminds all recreational anglers that gray triggerfish, greater amberjack, or red snapper must be reported through Snapper Check prior to landing the fish in Alabama. For more information about Snapper Check, please visit outdooralabama.com.
Also brought to you by
Advanced Transmission in Spanish Fort. Give the professionals a call who have been trusted on the Gulf Coast for over 25 years at 251-626-6061 or check them out online at www.advanced-transmission.com. And also brought to you by Bucks Island. They have new pontoon boats, bass boats, bow riders, and aluminum boats for sale. They provide boat service on all kinds of boats, even if they weren't purchased from Bucks. Visit them at 4500 Highway 77 in Southside, Alabama, or give them a call at 256-442-2588.
This week's Alabama Saltwater Fishing Report brought to you by me, Angelo DePaola, The Coastal Connection. Find us online at thecoastalconnection.com.
And also brought to you by SunSouth. For quality John Deere equipment affordably priced, visit your neighbors at SunSouth. Visit your local SunSouth and check them out on the web at www.sunsouth.com. And also brought to you by Sam's Stop and Shop is your one-stop shop located at 27122 Canal Road in Orange Beach, Alabama. Sam's has a little bit of everything, including a deli, inshore, offshore, and surf fishing tackle. They also have bait, clothing, groceries, name brand sunglasses, and so much more. Stop by and shop or call them at 251-981-4245 today. Also brought to you by Hilton's Real-Time Navigator, bringing you the highest quality online satellite fishing chart since 2004. Your source for sea temps, altimetry, currents, and watercolor at hiltonsoffshore.com. Also brought to you by Dixie Supply and Baker Metalworks are proud to be your metal roofing headquarters for over 40 years. Save time and money by buying from the most reliable manufacturer on the Gulf Coast. Buy it today, pick it up today. With the addition of their new store in Cantonment, Florida, they now have 8 locations to serve you. Dixie Supply and Baker Metalworks, your metal roofing headquarters.